Okay, well, hi, friends. Doc South here. Just wanted to, just, I don't even know quite how to start this except to say, it might not be a bad idea to listen to people. I guess the best thing I can say. There are especially the older folks in your life. You get right down to it, almost everyone has done something interesting, and you really should find out what it was. What was it they did? What was it they witnessed? And just maybe write it down somewhere. You don't have to necessarily name names if it's something that might be embarrassing to someone. But I think it's a good idea to to get this stuff. I'm thinking. I ran into a guy one day who was at Hiroshima. It was either Hiroshima or Nagasaki, maybe 3 days or so after the bomb. Yes, he was actually walking around in all that radiation. No, he was a sailor, and his ship was ordered to sail into the harbor overlooking there at that city and reconnoiter. And he said, man, he never saw anything like it. He said, be very afraid of atom bombs. Many of his crewmates later in life got horribly ill. This fellow lived to a ripe old age, but he did see it, and he said it wasn't pretty. I ran into a guy once who earned the Congressional Medal of Honor for rescuing many of his wounded fellow soldiers from they were wounded in an area where there was heavy machine gunning. He got the wounded, out of that situation. I know a person who saw the Hindenburg 1 hour before it went up in flames down near Lakehurst. Yes, saw it fly over, and an hour later, gone. I have a friend who saw a rather large UFO over a field out in the Midwest of our country. He said absolutely silent, about the size of a little bigger than a football field, and it just floated silently drifted from spot to spot, just checking things out. Yeah, and he wasn't lying. He saw it. I know of someone who helped tend to the sick and possibly injured after World War I, when there was this awful, I believe it was a pandemic, took a good percentage of the world's population. Many people died from it. It was a horrible plague. We don't even hear about it, but this person was there tending to those people who were afflicted. Um, I I remember talking with a guy not too long ago who was ready to go. His plane was ready to take off to see action in Japan to end World War II. And as he's revving up his engines, they get the call to stand down, come back to the hangar. The war's over. Yeah, he was just about there. I know a guy who was he was a tail gunner on a I want to say I'm not sure, but a bomber, and he actually his plane used to fly over Mount Vesuvius. He could actually look down at Mount Vesuvius from his position, and he said when they knew they got there, they knew they had good fighter cover from friendly airplanes, fighter planes. Prior to that, in other words, prior to that, it was you never know. Someone, Messerschmitt, could come out of nowhere, and well, the fight would be on. There's many people who lived during the Great Depression. Many of them now leaving us. They're quite old. I know of someone who used to make bathtub gin to make extra money during the Depression. Yes, and it was illegal. Very religious person too, but hey, you got to make a buck. You got to make a buck. I've known bootleggers up in the hills of Pensy making this. Oh my gosh, this raisin jack. Oh my God, thing will throw you for a loop. But they used to make it up there in the hills. different folks in. Well, I knew a fellow who was in the Vietnam Navy, and when Vietnam fell, his ship couldn't go back to Saigon. They would have been killed. So he went. He came to America. The whole ship just headed east and went to San Diego. Got taken in. I know folks who have seen Al Jolson just walking down the street, or Frank Sinatra, or at least saw them in concert. And the thing is, people with the same deal. They've got all these stories to tell you. I'm telling you, put down the smartphone and get these people's messages. Get their stories. They're lost if you don't. They're lost if you don't. Gosh, there was some people I remember when I was just a little kid. I guess I witnessed it too, only I don't remember it, but a big blast that happened over near Succothena when I think Hercules powder blew. There was an awful explosion there. People in our neighborhood were probably people that worked there who lived in our neighborhood. Some of them were killed. There's, gosh, I ran into a lady one day when I had my antique shop who was in Germany, Nazi Germany, and survived I believe it was the firebombing of Dresden. She was lucky to get out alive, and she would just shake as she told that story. There's so many people who could tell you about the early days of radio and television. There was a time, believe it or not, when there wasn't TV. And if you had one, it was about that big, and you watched it like that. The whole family. Well, it got the family together. It sure did. But you see what I'm saying? Think if we only had firsthand accounts of, and I guess we do have some, but wouldn't it have been nice to have had even more of meetings with Julius Caesar, or running into Jesus, or what was life like in the caveman days? It probably isn't as totally as we thought. It would be nice to have tales of the reality, right? Gosh. I know you're probably watching this on a smartphone. I remember when you had to talk to an operator to get your number. The operator would dial it for you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, stuff like that. It's fascinating to gather up the history, the day-to-day, the day-to-day lives of people. Imagine all the cool stuff that's out there. You can leave it to the archaeologists, but I don't know if they always get the whole picture. Better to get word of mouth. You got a smartphone, record these people's stories if they'll let you. I think it's a cool idea. Anyway, I thought I'd say, till we meet again, Doc South saying hey, and I'll see you later. Don't forget, on my YouTube site, you go to YouTube and search Doc South Show. There's talk about saving memories. I think I've got a good 600 videos, and they're there for you to enjoy. Okay? Okay. I'll see you later. Bye now, friends. God bless.